Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters of the Week video. Thought I would mix in another one of these here while I'm continuing with your other suggestions. I love doing these every now and then just to spice things up and then make sure that I can do a preview of sorts when it comes to going back to my cryptid videos. So this random page entry there from the cryptids.wikia.com website has to do with a creature that is almost like a cousin to something that y'all have tried to suggest in the past. Several of you have suggested the Kelpie as a creature or cryptid for me to talk about. I don't think I've talked about that, and in fact, looking at the past history on my videos, I haven't come across it yet. So this is a nice way to kind of get close to talking about it, but at the same time focusing on a different creature of sorts. So thank you so much again for that past suggestion. Hopefully this will be able to satisfy it until I actually return to talking about the Kelpie. But it has to do with this. Very similar cousin to it, far more dangerous though. This is a creature that's known, and you're looking at it now, as the Each-uisge. I hope I'm saying that correctly, but I think that's what it said. It's Each-uisge, which literally means water horse. So let's go ahead and let's talk about all the fascinating but dangerous info associated with this cryptid. So what is this Each-uisge? Again, it literally translates to water horse. It's basically a water spirit that dwells the waters there in the Highlands of Scotland. So you have to go to Scotland specifically. You have to go to that area known as the Highlands. If you find bodies of water, then there's a good chance that you'll find this cryptid there. Unfortunately, though, this is not one that you want to come across because it truly is dangerous. More on that here in a minute. But first, let's talk about the characteristics associated with this cryptid. It can take multiple forms. This is a shapeshifter. This is a creature that if you see one form, you're not looking at its entirety. It can actually take at least 3 separate forms. The first form is its most common one, and that is a mishmash between a horse and a man. So if you can picture like the face of a horse but the body of a man, there's that type of form. And then the other form is just a straight horse. So that way, if you see a horse out there in the Highlands of Scotland, who knows, and it's by itself, you might just have a chance that you're looking at the Each-uisge. And then the other form is even more discreet. It's just basically a man. It's illustrated, though, sometimes as being a very handsome man, but still a man nonetheless. And so this is its third form, and probably the hardest to discern, unless if you get really close to the creature and you can see what's considered some kind of, I don't know if it's weeds or something else like seaweed within its hair, then that's when you know that this is Each-uisge. So 3 separate forms, all shape-shifting, all for one goal. This is a creature that attacks humans, eats them, and is also able to attack animals and devour them as well. So you do not want to run into this because this is something that could be considered very, very dangerous. It's always on the hunt whenever it rises out of the sea. And that's the way it works. It lives in the sea most of its life, but every now and then it'll come out of the sea, and it's known as having like a fine mist. Like you'll know its presence when it's coming out of the sea because all of a sudden there'll be a large amount of mist coming out from his area. And then when that happens, then that's where you'll see this Each-uisge. And that's what it'll do. It'll roam the earth. It'll roam that area. It'll try to find someone either by themselves or try to lure them somewhere. And when they do so, and that's when it attacks and it'll devour them. It'll take them back actually to the waters that they dwell from, and then it'll take them, and if they haven't died by then they'll be drowned thereafter. So not a pleasant way to go when you come across this creature. Probably one of the most nefarious ways that this thing attacks is it'll be a regular horse. Remember that form that I was mentioning earlier? It'll take on the form of that horse, and then it'll wait for just your average guy, whoever he is, to come across it and then decide to take it. And the idea is this, that horse, it's waiting on that person to mount themselves on it. So that way it can try to make things easier when when that person tries to take them back to their home. But once they're mounted on, that's it. The skin of this creature becomes almost like a glue, very, very strong adhesive. It locks that person to the body of the Each-uisge, and then it takes it pretty much to the lake or whatever body of water it came from, dives in, and that's the end of that person. Kind of crazy, when you think about how this creature does it. Innocently enough, you could think that you're getting a free horse, And then all of a sudden, you are locked skin to skin to this Each-uisge, and there's nothing else you can do. You cannot tear yourself off. You cannot do anything. And then you find yourself being drowned by this creature afterward. So definitely not something that you want to encounter for it. And then when it's in its human form, it can also use that to try to lure people away. In fact, it's been known to, if you go again to the Highlands and you go there to the Scotland area by the bodies of water, it's been known to just roam by itself. Here's a guy, a regular man, just roaming by himself by those waters. Maybe it counts on strangers to come across and offer assistance. Maybe it's counting on someone else to be interested in them, and then that way they can try to lure the person that way, maybe in a romantic manner. Whatever is the case, it counts on people to be there, and then it'll just do the same thing. It'll lure them and then take them into the sea, and then that's it. The person is gone. Interestingly enough, once the person is devoured, it eats everything but the liver. I have no idea why the liver is left as is, but it is. And whenever you know that there's a telltale sign of this Each-uisge around, is because all of a sudden you'll see a liver floating in the body of water. Nothing else from the person itself. Instead, it's just the liver. So very good indication on that part that this creature is nearby. But yes, it also feeds on animals. So if you happen to have a animal with you, maybe you're somebody there, somebody that's tending to livestock, something along those lines, you may have a chance, if you come across this creature, if you leave one of the animals there to feed on, because yes, it does feed on animals too. In fact, there was a story that I read there. It's from something called McKay's More West Highland Tales, that describes of a guy, a blacksmith, who lost his daughter to this Each-uisge. Don't know how he lost her specifically. Maybe she fell in love with this quote-unquote handsome man, and it turned out to be this creature. Or maybe it just attacked her outright from another location. Who knows? But he wanted revenge. And so the way he did it was he basically set a sheep to roast within some outside area. And then nearby, the blacksmith and his son had these large hooks on a piece or some kind of land with some fire on it, and they were basically letting those hooks roast on top of the fire while they waited for the sheep to bring in the Each-uisge. And sure enough, it did. The Each-uisge loves the smell of roasted meat. That's another way to attract it, actually, too. So it smelled it. It came out of the sea. It apparently came out as a great mist, and it's made its presence known. And when it started to devour that sheep, that's when the blacksmith and the son attacked. They took those hooks, the ones that were resting on that piece of land, on that fire, and then they just started whacking this creature left and right, and then that was it. It was killed. And the next morning, there was nothing left of this Each-uisge other than some kind of jelly-like substance. So fascinating note when it comes to this creature. It's very, very dangerous, but it can be killed. And so the whole idea is you don't want to get yourself into that situation in the first place. But if you have to and you have to defend yourself, then yes, you do have a chance when it comes to being being able to be killed as far as this creature. By the way, there's one last chance too. If you ever accidentally mount a horse there and it happens to turn out to be this creature, you're fine technically as long as you remain within any kind of land. Like as far as land is the only thing seen up to the horizon, then that's it. Then you're good. Then you're fine. You can mount off the horse or this creature essentially, and you can do so safely and then get the hell out of there as much as you can, as fast as you can. That's because as long as this creature does not sense any water, then you're fine. It cannot use that adhesive or glue-like substance on its skin to trap you. The only problem though is whenever it does sense any kind of water, like there's the merest glimpse of land, or I'm sorry, of water nearby, then yes, that's when the adhesive turns on, and then that's it. You're stuck to the horse. So at least there's that one single aspect when it comes to saving yourself if you come across this creature by accident in terms of its horse form. So what do you guys think? That's pretty much all the info associated with the Each-uisge. Anybody there from the Scotland area? Anybody planning to go there anytime soon? Again, if you do, you may have a chance of seeing this creature, hopefully from afar. You don't want to necessarily be close to it. Anyone hear any more tales as well? Something you might have missed? This sounds like this is a creature that has been told for who knows how long there in the Scotland area. So if anybody has anything else that sounds interesting, then please post those comments below too. So, all right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.